Good morning, students. Students, as the notes of the chapter Surface Chemistry has been sent to you already and you have been advised to make the notes of that. So, I'll advise you to please take out your notes so I can let you revise the very basics of this chapter. This is a very simple chapter, student, and has been reduced to a certain extent in the board examination syllabus. Students, in this chapter of surface chemistry, we have to discuss with you what is adsorption, catalysis and colloids. All are the theoretical work, the notes of which has already been provided to you. Now, what is adsorption? Students, adsorption is a surface phenomenon. I repeat, adsorption is a surface phenomenon. You must have a notes with you to understand this lecture because I will be explaining to you this topic from your notes. It's a surface phenomenon. What do I mean by this? Suppose if I have got this chalk and this chalk is put in the blue ink, what you will observe that the surface of the chalk will become blue in color and the bulk of the matter of the chalk will be wet. Am I clear? So, blue color ink is adsorbed on the surface while the bulk of the composition is wet, and that will be called as the phenomena of absorption. So, adsorption is a surface phenomena and absorption occurs to the bulk of the matter. Am I clear? Now, the solid or liquid on whose surface the adsorption takes place is called as adsorbent. So, this surface of the solid will be called as adsorbent, and the substance which get adsorbed will be the adsorbate. So, we must know what is adsorption, what is adsorbent and what is adsorbate. One more thing, students, a very briefing which has already been done to you, and these are the questions in the board examination. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. During adsorption, the heat is evolved, so delta H will be negative. So, adsorption is an exothermic process. Am I clear? Remember, it's a surface phenomena. During adsorption, delta H is negative and the entropy will be positive. So, delta G will become negative. So, it's a surface phenomena. It is an exothermic process. I mean to say delta H is negative. Entropy of the system will increase. Delta S will be positive and delta G will be negative. Remember this, students. Now, the adsorption can either be physical adsorption or chemical adsorption. Physical adsorption basically is the adsorption in which the force of attraction between the adsorbent and the adsorbate is a van der Waals force of attraction. Whereas in chemical adsorption, the force of attraction will be the chemical bond. So, this adsorption, it can either be the physical adsorption, it can be a physical adsorption, or it can be a chemical adsorption. This can be physical or a chemical adsorption. Physical adsorption or the chemical adsorption. The question which will be asked in the board examination, what is the force of attraction for the physical adsorption? It will be van der Waals force. Remember these questions. This will be a van der Waals force of attraction. And here in the chemical adsorption, it will be a chemical force of attraction. This will be a chemical force of attraction. Am I clear, student? So, you must remember the difference between the physical adsorption and the chemical adsorption, which is being provided to you in the notes. It is expected from you to learn that by making the notes of that. The question which will be asked in the board examination, what force of attraction are here? Van der Waals force, and over there will be a chemical force of attraction. Am I clear? Now, after adsorption in the syllabus, we have a catalysis. What is catalyst? Catalyst is a substance which alters the rate of a chemical reaction. The substance which alters the rate of a chemical reaction. So, the substance which alters the rate of a reaction is called as a catalyst, and the phenomenon is known as a catalysis. Am I clear? This we have been studying from the class 6th or 7th. Catalysis can be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Homogeneous catalysis are those in which the reactant and the substrate and the catalyst are in the same phase. Heterogeneous are those in which the reactants and the catalyst are in the different phase. Am I clear? The notes are with you. You can simply learn from there. So, homogeneous catalysts are those in which the catalyst and the substrate reactants are in the same phase. Heterogeneous catalysts are those in which the substrate and the reagents are in the different phase. Then are given the characteristics of a catalyst. We all know they are very specific in nature, they are required in a small amount, etc., etc. So, all those points are written for the catalyst. These are same which we have done in the lower classes. Then what are catalytic promoter? All those substance which increases the activity of the catalyst. And then what are catalytic poison? Those substance which decreases the activity of the catalyst. Then there are two theories of a catalysis. One is the intermediate compound formation theory and other will be the adsorption theory. In intermediate compound formation theory, it is being told to you that we have a substrate and the catalyst. So, reactant attached on the surface of a catalyst to form the intermediate, resulting in the formation of bond, which will result in the formation of product, and finally the catalyst will be regenerated back. So, you may simply note down those from your notes which is being already provided to you. Am I clear, student? So, these topics are very simple. The catalysis we have been done many times, and adsorption we have done in brief. It is a surface phenomena. Delta H will be negative, delta S will be positive, and delta G will be negative. Adsorption can be physical or chemical adsorption. Physical adsorption occurs due to the van der Waals force of attraction, and the chemical adsorption occurs due to the chemical force of attraction. Chemical force of attraction means there will be the formation of a chemical bond. So, there will be a formation of a chemical bond. Am I clear, student? Now, the last topic in this chapter is colloids. What are colloids? Students, we have studied with you or we have discussed with you the chapter solution. In the true solution, there is a size of a solute particle in the solution. So, there are three kinds of solution, either true solution, suspension and colloids. In the true solution, the particle size is less. In the suspension, the particle size is more. If the size of the particle in any solution is in between true solution and the suspension, it is called as a colloids. I have the notes which I have sent to you in my hand. I will expect you to please read or take out your notebooks while watching this video lecture and just observe what I am teaching in the colloids. So, colloids size of particle will be in between the true suspension and the true solution. Now, classification of colloids, there can be various types of a colloid form depending on the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. They can be solid in solid sol, they can be solid in liquid sol, solid in gas which is called as aerosol, liquid in solid is called as gel. In the board examination, it may be asked, what are aerosols? So, answer will be the colloid of a solid in gas, liquid in solid, gel, liquid in gas and liquid in liquid, emulsions. At least three you must learn: sol, aerosol, gel and emulsions. Then in this manner we have got 8 types of colloidal solutions. The list of this is being given to you, which is being made, which is given to you in the notes which is being provided to you. Please simply note down the list and learn the examples of the various types of sols or the colloidal solutions. What are aerosols, what are gels and what are emulsions. As for example, the example of aerosol is smoke, dust, gel is cheese, butter, emulsion is milk, hair and cream, etc. Am I clear, student? Now, the colloidal particles are also differentiated on the basis of dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. And on the basis of a dispersed phase and dispersion medium, they can be lyophilic colloids. Colloids can be lyophilic colloids, or it can be the lyophobic colloids. It can either be lyophilic or lyophobic colloids. So, colloids can be lyophilic or lyophobic. The difference between the lyophilic and the lyophobic colloids are given to you in the notes. Simply note down from this and learn the differences as are being given to you in the notes. The differentiation has been done on the basis of ease of preparation, stability, hydration, reversible and irreversible nature, charge on the particle, viscosity, surface tension and the Tyndall effect. I hope you learned this. Then the third differentiation can be made on the basis of type of particles of the dispersed phase and the dispersed medium. Type of particle, they can be either larger in size, so that will be called the multimolecular colloid. They will be smaller in size, or they will be associated colloids. So they will be multimolecular colloid, macromolecular colloids and then associated colloids. May be asked as a question in the board examination. Normally, what is being asked from these different types of a colloid? Give an example of the questions will be what are aerosols, what are gels, what are emulsions. Give an example so you can learn from the table. Differentiate between lyophobic and lyophilic colloid, or differentiate between associated molecular and the macromolecular colloids. Then is given the mechanism of the micelle formation and cleansing action. Fine, I am reading for you. The micelles are generally formed by the aggregation of several ions or molecule with the lyophobic as well as the lyophilic part. Fine. As for example, if you consider sodium stearate. Now, if you consider sodium stearate formula will be C17H35 and then COONA. This is sodium stearate. Here, this part is water hating part and this part will be the water loving part of the colloid over here. Fine. So, if we consider and ionize this is C17 and then S35 and then COONA. This will ionize to form C17, H35, CO negative and Na positive. So, in this part we have, this is water hating part and this will be a water loving part. Am I clear, student, over here? So, water hating and the water loving part will be obtained. Now, what is written? At the critical micelle concentration, the anions are pulled back into the bulk of the solution and forms a cluster of the molecule in which hydrocarbon tails are in the interior of the cluster and ions ends are at the surface of the cluster. This is called as a micelles. So, suppose if this is a solution, what will happen? In this case over here, the hydrocarbon part, which is water heating part, will enter inside this and the water loving part will be outside this, and this will form a kind of a cluster, which cluster will be called as a micelle formation over here. And same is the cleansing action of the soap. Am I clear? So, if you take about the cleansing action of the soap, suppose in the cleansing action of soap, this is a dirt particle. So, what will happen? We have a detergent, suppose sodium stearate. So, hydrophobic part will enter into this and this CO negative part will be outside this. This will be attracted to the water molecule. So, there will be a force of attraction this way. So, dirt particle will be coming out from the clothes. So, this is the cleansing action of soap. So, cleansing action of soap is due to the formation of a micelle. Then after that, students, in the notes, some portions are cut for you. This portion has been deleted from the syllabus or being reduced from the syllabus. Then are given the properties of colloidal solution. First is colligative properties. Now, since in the colloidal particle, the size of particle is larger than the solution and the colligative property depends upon the number of particles. Since in the colloids, the number of particles decreases, so colligative property decreases. In the colligative property in the colloids will be less than those of the solution. Then the next property is Brownian moment. What is Brownian moment? Brownian moment is the zigzag motion of the particles. Brownian moment. Brownian moment. This is a zigzag motion of the colloidal particle. This is called as a Brownian moment. Naturally, it is inversely proportional to size of the particle and inversely proportional to viscosity. So, zigzag motion is called as a Brownian moment over here. This is zigzag motion of the particle is called as the Brownian moment, and Brownian moment Brownian moment is inversely proportional to, if you take Brownian moment, is inversely proportional to the size of the particle and the viscosity of the particle. Brownian moment is inversely proportional to the size of particle. It is inversely proportional to the size of particle. Again, it is inversely proportional to the viscosity of the medium. Inversely proportional to size and inversely proportional to the viscosity of the medium. Fine. The next, this is very important property as far as the colloids are concerned. Then the next property is a Tyndall effect. Next property is a effect which is called as a Tyndall effect. So what is the Tyndall effect over here, students? Tyndall effect is another very important property of the colloids. You must have seen or gone to the movie theaters. When we go to the movie theaters, we see the light which is being focused on the projector is sometimes visible. That effect is a Tyndall effect. So if I define the Tyndall effect, the phenomenon of scattering of light by the colloidal particle, as a result of which the path become visible, is called as a Tyndall effect. So the phenomenon of scattering of light due to which the path become visible is called as a Tyndall effect. You must learn the Tyndall effect. The complete notes of this is being given. Example over here is when we drive a car and the car headlights are on and it is a snowy season or lot of fog, we see the scattering of light. That is a Tyndall effect. Light during the projection in the picture theater is visible due to Tyndall effect. Then we have the color, which you have to learn the property of a color in the colloidal effect. Then we have the origin of the charge in the colloidal solution. I hope you will be able to do those. These are specifically written as a notes for you. Please go through them. Then is given the property of a coagulation or precipitation. What is coagulation or precipitation? If a charge on the particle is removed or neutralized, they aggregate to form a precipitate known as a coagulation. A definition will be asked in the board examination. It may be carried out by dialysis or by mixing oppositely charged colloid or by electrophoresis or by boiling or by adding the colloids. Then students, in the notes is given Hardy and Schulz rule, which says that larger the charge or more is the charge on the ion, more it will be a coagulating power over here. So we have a very important rule over there, which is Hardy and Schulz rule. Hardy and Schulz rule. And what does this Hardy and Schulz rule says? It says coagulating power will be directly proportional to the charge on the ion over here. So coagulation power will be directly proportional to, it is directly proportional to charge on ion. Charge on ion. So more is the charge on the ion, more will be the coagulation power. As for example, in the case of aluminium ion, this is more than barium ion, which is more than the sodium ion. Aluminium ion will be more than barium ion, which again will be more than those of a sodium ion. Similarly, if you take ferricyanide ion, FeCN6 and then 4 negative ion, here the coagulation power will be more as compared to phosphate ion, as compared to sulfate ion, which will be more as compared to the chloride ion. Is it clear? Then it is given how do we protect the colloid, and the definition of a gold number is given. Student, you have to learn that gold number. Then emulsions, as I already told you, the soul of a liquid in liquid is called as emulsion. This can be of a two types, oil in water type and water in oil type. You learn this only simply. Then the application of colloids are given. It helps in smoke precipitation. Blue color of the sky is due to colloidal solution. The formation of fog, mist and rain is due to colloidal formation. Then the coagulation in blood is due to coagulation. Formation of delta etc. is also due to coagulation. I hope you will be learning this very thoroughly, student. In the board examination, you may be asked, explain why the sky appears blue in color. explain the formation of delta, explain the formation of fog, mist, etc. or smoke, etc. All these are due to the colloidal solution. So with this, I have given you the brief. In briefing, I have discussed with you the very, very easy chapter, which is a surface chemistry. Very set pattern of questions are asked from this chapter in the board examination. All will be the theoretical question, which I have tried to discuss with you. Hopefully, you will be able to learn them very thoroughly, learn with purpose, solve and read all the questions given in the NCERT or asked in the board examination. I hope the chapter must have been clear to you. Please, I again advise you to make the notes, learn them thoroughly. It is the chapter to be learned. The basics of this has been discussed with you. We'll meet again with some other discussion. Till then, thank you.